Greetings, viewers of Apple Stump Bushcraft Stuff and Things. It's January 31st, 2018, and it's time for our giveaway drawing, as announced on the video entitled Ruger SR 1911 CMD Field Strip and Clean and Giveaway. So, without further ado, we'll proceed to the random drawing program, and we'll see who is the lucky winner of the Fire and Light kit. And here we have the page where the names of those who commented on the video according to the rules that were explained at the end of the video for being an entrant in the prize drawing. And there are, looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. So it's pretty good chances. 1 out of 7. And this particular program here will do the selecting. Final draw, we want to click that. Ask me if I really want to proceed, and I do. And the results are, drum roll please, the winner of the Fire and Light kit is Kaylin Strain. So, Kaylin Strain, you're the winner, and I will be contacting you on your YouTube channel and find out where you would like me to send the Fire and Light kit to. Greetings once again, YouTubers and fellow travelers. Apple Stump Bushcraft Stuff and Things with another of our Stuff and Things selections. Today we're going to be looking at various cartridges in common use that are known as 9mm. So the first cartridge that we have to look at today is this one. This is commonly known as the 380 Auto Cartridge, also known in Europe as the 9mm Short, the 9mm Kurz, K-U-R-Z, or the 9x17mm. This cartridge was designed by John Browning in the early 1900s. The cartridge is rimless, straight-walled, and is 17mm in length, and boxer primed. The bullet diameter is .356 or 9.0mm, and the standard loading mounts a 95 to 100 grain full metal jacket bullet that moves out at approximately 980 feet per second muzzle velocity. The popularity of this round is huge in Europe, where it's often found in police or some military use, and in the United States as civilian defense cartridge or a backup weapon for the police. Don't know if you can see it clearly or not, but it is in fact 17mm from the base of the cartridge case to the case mouth. So this is the 9x17mm or 380 ACP. ACP stands for Automatic Colt Pistol. That's a full metal jacket round for defensive loadings in the United States and elsewhere. A number of hollow point bullets loadings are available. This happens to be a Remington 102 grain Golden Saber hollow point. These are quite effective. They give uniform expansion in moist media. So here we have a 100 grain full metal jacket, a 102 grain hollow point bullet. The velocity on these is somewhere around 1,000 feet per second. Again, the normal velocity on the full metal jackets is around 980 feet per second. The hollow point bullet is designed to expand when it strikes media that contains water. That could be gelatin, it could be a small game animal in a self-defense situation against a human adversary. It could be human tissue. Regardless of what it strikes, it's designed to transfer more of its kinetic energy into the target and not to over-penetrate, go through the intended target into something else that doesn't need to be shot. Again, the cartridge length, 17 millimeters. The bullet diameter 0.355 inch, 355 1/1000 of an inch. So that's a look at our first cartridge that falls into the 9mm family. Second cartridge that we're looking at today is the 9mm Makarov, also known in some places as the 9x18mm or the 9mm Police. The cartridge was designed by B.V. Seaman in 1946 for the semi-automatic PM pistol, that stands for Pistolet Makarova, developed in Russia by Nikolai Makarov. It's a rimless, tapered cartridge, 18mm in case length, and is Berdan primed. It mounts a bullet nominally 0.364 to 0.365 inch, or 9.27mm in diameter. Standard loading in the 9mm Makarov is typically a 95 grain full metal jacket that moves out at approximately 1,050 feet per second. Its popularity was primarily for military and police in the former Soviet Union and Soviet bloc countries, and it's popular for self-defense in the United States. Speaking of self-defense, there is another loading available. In fact, there are more than one for the 9mm Makarov. This one here happens to be a Hornady XTP bullet. It's a 95 grain hollow point, and its velocity is similar to that of the full metal jacket at right around 1,050 feet per second. The third cartridge we're going to look at today is the very popular 9mm Luger cartridge. It's also known as the 9mm Parabellum, the 9mm NATO, and the 9x19mm. This cartridge was designed by Georg Luger in around 1900 for the DWM, and that stands for Deutsche Waffen- und Munitionsfabrik Luger semi-automatic pistol. It's a rimless, tapered cartridge. 19mm is the case length, and it's boxer primed. Bullet diameter is typically 0.356 inches, and that translates to 9.0mm. Standard loading for the 9mm Luger is a 115 grain full metal jacket at approximately 1,180 feet per second. The NATO loading is a 124 grain full metal jacket at about 1,150 feet per second. Its popularity is widespread around the world. Military, police, and civilians in various countries, including the United States, all use the 9mm Luger cartridge. For self-defense, a wide variety of hollow point bullets and other bullets designed to limit over-penetration and maximize kinetic energy transfer in the intended target are available. Here's just one of those bullets. The bullet itself is a 115 grain Remington jacketed hollow point, and this bullet will move out at about close to 1,200 feet per second, being as how it's lighter than the 124 grain NATO load, which is what this one is. 9mm pistols come in lots of different shapes and sizes and magazine capacities, ranging from a capacity of 6 in a single stack magazine to a capacity of 18 or 19 even in double stack magazines. They're a fairly good self-defense cartridge, especially with hollow point ammunition, and they're quite popular, as is evidenced by the wide variety of pistols available in the civilian market here in the United States especially that chamber the 9mm Luger cartridge. The last cartridge we're going to take a look at today is the 38 Super, also known as the 38 Super Automatic, and the 9x23mm. This cartridge was designed by Colt's Patent Firearms Manufacturing Company in the late 1920s to be chambered and fired in the Colt 1911 government model semi-automatic pistol, as a more powerful upgrade to the 38 ACP cartridge that was then in use. This is a semi-rimmed, straight-walled cartridge, 22.86 millimeters in length, and is boxer primed, and it mounts a .356 or 9.0 millimeter diameter bullet. The standard loading is a 130 grain full metal jacket bullet that moves out at approximately 1215 feet per second, and this is an example of that kind of cartridge. This is a 38 Super automatic. Modern day head stamps on these are stamped 38 Super Auto plus P. That designation keeps them from being fired in older guns that were chambered for 38 automatic, which has the same case diameter and same bullet size, but is a much lower pressure round. Firing a 38 Super plus P round in a gun chambered for the old 38 automatic could result in catastrophic failure of the firearm depending on its condition, so it's not advised. It is possible to chamber a 38 Super plus P in a 38 automatic firearm and vice versa. Chambering a 38 automatic cartridge in a 38 Super gun will result in normal firing, and chambering a 38 Super plus P round in a 38 auto firearm might be a problem. I wouldn't recommend it. Popularity of the 38 Super is primarily civilian oriented. It's used quite often for competition, carried for self-defense, and is especially popular in Latin American countries where civilian ownership of firearms that chamber a military cartridge is prohibited. So let's just say you're in Mexico or Peru or Guatemala or somewhere, and the military there is carrying 9mm automatic. You as a civilian would not be permitted to carry a weapon that chambers 9mm automatic. However, you would be permitted, local laws notwithstanding, to carry or own a firearm chambered in 38 Super. 38 Super has never gained wide acceptance anywhere in the world as a military cartridge, and so those folks that are limited to non-military cartridges have somewhere to go to get a 9mm bullet in weapon platform. In the self-defense market, a number of jacketed hollow point loadings are available. This one is made by Sig Sauer, and it is a jacketed hollow point. They call these a V crown because in cross-section the hollow point looks like a V. I haven't fired any of these yet. I've seen some demonstrations of them on YouTube, and depending on what they're shot into, they have good to excellent effectiveness in terms of kinetic energy transfer and non-over penetration. So that's a look at the 4 9mm family rounds that we're going to deal with in this video. In the second part of this video, we'll be going out to an outdoor shooting range and firing these rounds at water-filled bottles and jugs, just to demonstrate the kinetic energies involved with a hardball or full metal jacket round when compared to the same caliber cartridge fired and mounting a hollow point bullet. We won't be using ballistic gelatin. We'll be using bottles and jugs of water because, quite frankly, when they are struck with hollow point bullets, the results are typically dramatic. In the second half of the video, we'll be firing each of these rounds at 2-liter bottles full of water, and we'll take a look at how dramatically, or not so dramatically, the bullets affect those particular targets. I wanted to mention a few more of the 9mm family that we don't have examples of here. They're somewhat less popular to almost obscure, and they are the 9x23 Steyr round, which was popular in Austria-Hungary, Romania, and Chile. The 9x22 or the 357 SIG, which is primarily an American cartridge. It's used for competition. Some police departments carry it. The 9x20 or 9mm Browning Long was popular for a while in Belgium, France, England, Sweden, the Ottoman Empire, and South Africa. 9x21 Gierza, which is a specifically Russian cartridge. 9x25 Mauser, it's a German cartridge. The 9x25 Dillon, which is something of a wildcat cartridge and was again intended for competition, enabling a shooter to pass major category standards while using a 9mm cartridge. The 9mm Winchester Magnum, also known as the 9x29, this is again an American cartridge designed for competition. And the 38 ACP, also known as 38 Auto or 9x23, another American cartridge that preceded the 38 Super and from which the 38 Super derived. And last on the list is the 9x23 Winchester, which is also specifically an American cartridge. So that'll be it for our comparison of the 4 popular 9mm cartridges. And in part 2 we'll be heading out to the range. Hope to see you there, and stand by for fun.